Today we're going to look at a DVD recorder that my neighbor brought me. Now this doesn't work. He got it for nothing off of Facebook, give it away. So he paid nothing for it. He knows it doesn't work. He asked me to take a look at it. He's basically interested in using this unit just as a time-based corrector for capturing video. And told him, yes, they will work very well as a time-based corrector. But let's take a look at it and see whether we can get it to work and, well, whether it'll do it as a time-based corrector. Let's check it out. Today I have a Panasonic DMR ES15. Sounds like something's loose inside. Well, someone's been inside this one. It came pre-disassembled for me. Well, let's see if it turns on. Is this thing going to work? I don't think it's going to work, but where's the problem? I mean, obviously somebody's been into this unit. This one's probably not going to be repairable, but we will see. Let's plug it in. Well, it says wait on the screen, so that's something. I'll hook it up to my monitor as well. Turn it on. It says hello. Am I going to get any video? That's the thing. Well, that part works. Okay, well, I see the laser attempting to come on there. Yikes! Oh, that's not a good sound. You know what? There's parts missing. Or is it just a belt? Maybe it's just a belt that's missing. That's what it is. It's got a belt missing. Okay, did someone try to change the belt on this and gave up? That noise will give you an eargasm. Well, I see the laser trying to come on, but I think it's got more wrong with it than a belt that is missing. But maybe that's why the transport was all apart. I get a message that says press power and it'll do self-checking. I don't think the self-checking is going to amount to anything. I think it's beyond self-checking. Press enter and wait the unit will power off and then automatically will start self-checking. I don't have the remote. How can I press the enter button? I don't have a remote. I might be further ahead just to hand this back to the guy that gave it to me and tell him it's not worth fixing. I mean, the guy that brought this to me for one reason and one reason only, because it can operate as a time-based corrector. So he can feed it video in and get. This doesn't even have any HDMI output though. It does have component output, but if it will pass video through and correct the time base on it, that's basically what he wants to use it for. Because, you know, these operate, most of these, I think all of them, will operate as a TBC if you feed it a video signal. But of course, with the on-screen display saying disk recovery complete, the unit will power off. Please wait. Press the power button to restart. Okay, whatever the heck that meant. Press the power button. I want to see if it'll pass video through. We'll plug the color bar generator into line 1 and see whether it will pass the signal through, or even line 2 on the front. Okay, so it's passing a signal through. I got a signal passing through here, so it may operate as a TBC. But I'm interested to see whether this disk transport can be made to work. Let's take a look under this signal process board and just see what's under here. I remember I had a unit like this a few years ago that I junked because the pickup was bad on it. At least that's what we figure it was. Pop this out and see. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's got our favorite craps on it, doesn't it? I'm pretty sure the servo circuits are all on this board. I'm going to just check that any of these caps are bad ESR wise. I mean, it might be a bad laser, but it could be a bad cap too, right? Especially if some of these electrolytics are going bad. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this though, because there's not any money in a repair like this.
In fact, the only thing I'm making off this is the ad revenue, because I'm making nothing to look at this.
It was brought to me to see whether it could be used as a time-based corrector, and I think it probably can. We'll test that. I'll try doing a capture from this thing on one of my component capture. I'll probably take the little Cloner Alliance with the component input, and we'll use this to 47 at, how many volts is that? 6 volts, 47? Yeah, it's okay. 47 at 6 volts would be like 2.2. And it's okay. It's not high. A little bit higher than the other one, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. That one's a little high. 47 microfarad, measuring 6.9. That one's a little bit high. Maybe we'll just change that one for the hell of it and see whether that'll make the thing spin up and try to read. And that one there, 10 ohms. What size is that one? I can't even see it. This one is a 10 at 16 volts. So a 10 at 16 volts, 8 would be considered a good reading if it's less than 8. And it's measuring about 10. So that one might be a little bit high. And then what's this one here? This is the 100 microfarad. Yeah, that one's okay. This 47 here looked to be a little high, 7 ohms. Maybe that one, possibly that one there. I probably have a 47 around here. We'll try that one. Maybe even this 10 for the hell of it. We'll just try changing those two. I don't think it's going to make any difference, but we'll see if it will read. Maybe I can put this thing back together and make it actually work. I doubt it, but unless you try, right? You don't know. And surface mounted caps give a lot of trouble on units like this. I mean, surface mounted caps give trouble in general, right? Causes lots of headaches. I might be able to just tack one around here just for trial. I'm not even going to cut the old one out. I'll just tack another one on the side here if I can, and see if it does anything, right? As I mentioned, there's no money in this. This was brought to me by one of my neighbors. He didn't pay a lot of money for it, and when he got it, he noticed it rattled. So he brought it to me to check it out. Well, we know why it rattles, because somebody was in there. I guess maybe they were changing a belt. Maybe they changed the belt and it didn't fix it, so then they just took the belt out and left it all apart. That's what I was thinking is probably what happened. Is that someone got into this and maybe it wasn't opening or closing properly, and they figured they'd change the belt. They changed out the belt and found that the drive didn't work. And then they just took the new part out and got rid of it. That's what I think probably happened. So I'm going to bridge this cap in. I'm not going to remove the old one, just because I don't feel like it. And two, if it doesn't fix it, if I end up giving the thing back to the guy, I don't want to leave any parts in it that don't need to be there. So see what this does. I'll just heat up the pad here so that I can tack a new cap in temporarily. and see whether that will make any difference. I'm not expecting it to, that's why I'm kind of doing it this way. I don't expect this to make any change, but until you try it, you don't know. This other one lifted up okay, so I just removed it and put a new one in here. We'll measure the old one again out of the circuit. Yeah, 10 ohms. So, I mean, this one's a little bit high. It's not super high, but it's a 10 microfarad. So, I mean, yeah, 8 would be considered good. This was measuring 10, so I don't think it was that high, but what the hell, we'll just try it for the hell of it and see whether I get any different type of a response when I put the disc in, see if it tries to fire up the motor or anything. And if it does, then I'll at that point I'll try to find a belt for it and put the drive back together. I'm not expecting it to do anything. I'm just saying that right now. I'm not expecting miracles, but you never know, right? So I got to get this back in place and seated back in here. There's a couple plugs here that have to go in. Where the hell's it go in? It goes under here. There's a bracket on here. Okay, I think it goes in like that, and then it should just plug down. Okay. Let's reconnect things and see whether anything does anything different than before. Oops, that's not the right screwdriver. Where am I? That's not the right screws. I took a couple screws out of here. What the heck did they do with them?
So what do you guys think? You think this thing's going to work? Is the drive going to work? Is it going to work as a pass-through? As a TBC? What type of results are we going to get? You're going to find out if it works, if it turns on, if we can pass the signal through. I'm going to show you and why you don't need to spend a lot of money to buy a VCR with a built-in TBC when you can pick these things up for a dime a dozen.
We'll try powering this up again and see whether I get any different type of response out of the drive itself. I'll power it up with the disc in place just to see whether it tries to spin. It says hello. It's got DB on it as well. So it'll accept Firewire and convert it over to component.
This would be a good front end for one of those Hop-Hog HD PVRs that only has component in.
I don't think it's going to do any. It's not going to make any difference. It's probably not caps on here that's causing the problem. It's more likely the laser pickup is fubar. I don't think that's. I'll try a regular CD. I think it should try to spin more than just what it tried there. I guess I could put the disc clamp on it that holds it in place properly. And now see if it will do anything. That wasn't much of a spin. We're not reinventing the wheel on this unit, and the unit itself came my way to see whether I could check it out and see whether it would function as a time-based corrector. That's what it came to me for. Will this operate as a time-based corrector? I don't even know how this thing goes back together. I think it goes on like this. I may be wrong, but I think this goes on just like this. As I said, as you saw when it came apart, it came to me with screws out, but and then these small screws go in there. There's only 3 of them. There's probably one still rattling around inside here somewhere. I'm going to hook it up to my one of my capture cards. I'll use my Cloner Pro, and we'll put a VHS tape through it from an old regular VHS machine. I'll do a capture looping through here, And we'll do it through component outputs. I think this will give me component out. And try component out and compare it to composite capture. It'll be still off of VHS, so it's still going to be composite, but let's see. Looping through this device, just using the inputs and outputs on it. I'll use the component outputs on the back, and we won't worry about the audio going through this. Obviously, it'll just be video, so we'll loop video through, and we'll take component output and run that into the capture, and I'll just make the same capture twice, and we'll look at the difference and see whether looping through this and using this as a time-based corrector is going to provide a better picture than just capturing alone. I'm going to use the same capture hardware. It'll be captured and converted up to 1080p 60. Let's try it and see what happens. We're using the Cloner Alliance Box Pro, and first things first, I'm going to record, I don't know, 5 seconds of color bars. So I've got my component inputs going in. It's going in as a composite into the DVD recorder, coming out as component. We're going to record for, I don't know, 5 seconds or so. And then I'm going to take a VHS machine. I'm going to connect it to here. We're going to make a recording through the DVD recorder. And then I'm also going to do a recording directly through the composite input on here. And then we'll try a video from S-Video using this to separate the signal and put it out as a component versus a composite signal. I'll have to use an SVHS machine for that, but that's not a problem. We can do that. And say first thing I'll start with is I'll just start with a VHS machine because I just happen to have a Sony kicking around right here that I can plug in, and we'll do a quick recording from both of those. Okay, now I've got a color bar tape playing. I'm going into the composite in on the DVD recorder. We're going to record these color bars coming out from the component output, and we're going to look at them, and then I will take the recording instead of recording from color bars. And I'm not recording any sound on this, so if you're wondering why there's no sound, no tone, I'm not recording sound. This is just to look at the quality of going through the DVD recorder versus going in through composite. So that's good enough there. I'll stop that. I'll take the signal that's currently going into the DVD recorder and we'll move it over to the composite input, and I'll switch this to the composite input, and we'll now make the recording the same recording using the composite input directly in, no time-based correction. What we're looking for is stability. And then I'll do the same thing for a tape with the ocean shots. We'll record it with the directly into the Cloner Alliance, and then we'll record it also going through the DVD recorder. But we'll do this. Record. Let that record for maybe a minute, and then we'll rewind the tape back and we'll look at the same shot going through the DVD recorder and letting it provide me with a component output. So I'll stop that, and we'll switch this back over to looping through the DVD recorder. Select the correct input. Roll the tape back a bit. Okay. And we'll record the same shot going through the time-based corrector.
Now this is using the Cloner Alliance as the actual digitizing card because it's the analog signal going in. Normally when I do my own conversions, I'm actually converting them to digital on an external box and feeding it in as HDMI. So I'm not using the up conversion from my cloner. I'm using actually up conversion from a hardware piece of equipment that gives me HDMI out. But it's the same idea.
Okay, for experiment number 2, I'm going to use this old camera
this old CCD TR81. This tape was recorded on this camera. I don't even know if it works. Hope it doesn't eat my tape. This was recorded using a Steadicam Junior on this camera. We're going to try 3 different recordings. I'm going to first, yeah, I got a picture here. I'm going to record this. This is going through composite into here, into the DVD recorder, and the DVD recorder is sending it out as a component signal. We're going to do that once. We're going to let this record for, I don't know, a minute or so we can look at the image quality. And then we're going to do it through the composite input on the direct capture device without going through the TBC that's built into the DVD recorder. And then the third time I'll do it, I'm going to plug the S-video signal in here, go back in through component, and record the same thing. So this shot, I'm just going to let it play for a couple minutes here. And while this is playing, well, you'll be watching what's coming out of it. Right? You're listening to me talk now as I'm recording it, but I'm showing you the actual capture. So this capture we're looking at now is composite in through the TBC and then being captured through component input on the Cloner Alliance in 1080p, 60 frames, 4:3 aspect ratio. Okay, that should be enough of this. Let's rewind it back and we'll do it again. This time we'll do it through the composite input. And the only reason I'm doing it this way is just because I just have to switch some cables around here to do it. So we'll switch this over to composite input. That one is what? HDMI, I think that should be, one of these is AV. That one, I think, is AV. Yeah, that's the AV input. So rewind it back. And record again. So now we're recording the version that is not time-based corrected. It's coming straight off the camera using the video out, going directly into the video input. So there's no time-based correction occurring whatsoever other than what is being done here. This has a frame store in it as well. Okay, this time I've rewound the tape and I've got the tape plugged into S-video. There we go. And this is now the recording going in from the camera into the S-video input. And we're recording it through component. So S-video in to the DVD recorder, looping it through the 3 outputs here. The Y, R, Y minus B, and Y minus R for your red, green, and blue inputs over here. People call it RGB. It's not. It's Y, it's R minus Y, and it's B minus Y. RGB is different. RGB, this is green. So basically what they do is, to make a component signal like this, is they take the luminance signal, or the green signal I should say, or the luminance signal, because that's where it all starts with luminance. They invert the luminance signal and they add it to what's coming out of the red camera, or the red output, and that produces a signal of red minus the Y. They do the same for the blue. They take an inverted copy of the green, or the I should say the luminance signal, and subtract the blue from it. So I'll let this one just play for a couple minutes, just so you guys can see the difference, and say this tape was recorded with this camera that we're using for playback. And this was recorded
eons ago using a Steadicam Junior. This is the raw footage. I used to love this little camera, this CCD R81. The fact that it actually even still works. I don't know if the sound works on it, I'm not listening to it. These had capacitor issues. This one's had a couple caps replaced on it. I think I changed 4. But I'm surprised that it still works. The viewfinder. Oh, yeah, the viewfinder is still working on this. I didn't think the viewfinder worked, but it does. It's just I've got the wrong lens on it. There. Now you can see it. Look at that. It still works. I wonder if this camera... Let me just plug this in. I bet this thing works. I bet the sound works on here. Let me just plug this into my monitor. And is the sound working? I'll find out. Well, I don't hear the sound very loud, if at all. Maybe the sound is not working anymore. I heard sound there for a second. But this thing still works. Like, it's amazing. I'll put the monitor on over here. Like, that's coming right off the camera. I don't know where my sound is. Soundboard's probably shot on it. Okay, I think the sound is turned up. Now, the sound is turned up on the TV. I did hear it momentarily there when I was... Oh, there we go. It's just my plug wasn't pushed in all the way. Sounds like only one channel's working. Yeah. Only the right channel's working. I wonder if something's loose. Hi-Fi Track 2 is working, like for bilingual. That's the difference channel. So that's working. And the main channel's working. Just when I put it in stereo, only one output's working. So it might be this. It might be the switch here. There's a little switch on here. Oh, there we go. It was just a little switch. There's a little switch here. You can use this as a recorder, and you can switch it to an input and use this as a hi-8 recorder and record an external source going in either through S-Video or composite. There's a little switch here. And that's where my sound was. You see one side, the switch is not working. If I flick the switch a few times, I had the sound back there. So I think it's the switch that's bad. Oops, that's not going to work if I pause it. I did have sound there, you heard it. So it's either a connection. Anyway, no big deal. This old camera still works after all these years. And this thing goes back to maybe 91 or 92. I think there's probably a date on here when I bought this thing. January 92. I changed 4 service-mounted electric light caps. I think I changed 4. I've done a service on this years ago on my channel. I serviced it, but it still works. Isn't that neat? I doubt that there's many of these old cameras that work. What I should have done when I was capturing is I should have shaken the camera. Actually, you know what? Let's loop it through. Let's loop it through and I'll shake the camera and see what happens on the TV. So you can see how much more stable it is just when I shake the camera. Now if I just plug the video directly in to the camera and do the same thing, here's the camera, okay? See how the picture shakes? And then we'll loop it through again. And then do the same thing. I'll do a recording of that too. I'll loop it through, do a recording, and then take the unlooped, and we'll do that. We'll do the same thing on the recording, so we can see what it looks like on digital. All right, so let's shake the picture. We'll see what happens to my recording when I shake it. I shake it quite violently here. That's going through the DVD recorder. We'll stop it. I think I'm recording now, am I not? No, I'm not. Am I? No. I don't see a record light. Now I am. Okay. Let's shake the picture. Or shake the camera, I should say. We'll stop the recording.
And I'll take the signal and I'll plug it directly in without going through the DVD recorder. And hit record and do the same thing, shake it. Is it going to make any difference? This has got a time-based corrector in it, so it probably won't make much of a difference, but we'll see. Okay, all right. That's the experiment. But yeah, pretty neat old camera, and the fact that it still works amazes me. I did not expect, when I grabbed this off the shelf, I figured this is the one that's going to have the highest rate of timing errors, because one, it's what, 34 years old, I guess. 91, yeah, 34 years old, over 34 years old. It did not have a TBC in it like the modern cameras have TBC, like the digital 8 cameras all have TBCs and stuff. This did not, but it also, if we look down inside here, this has got the 4-head compact drum, right? And they did that to make the camera smaller. So they wrap the tape around the head to a larger wrap, 270 degrees instead of 180. And it uses 4 heads, 2 A field and 2 B. And because it's a 3/4 wrap instead of a half wrap, when one head is reaching the end of its scan, the head 90 degrees ahead of it is ready to start, and it picks up the next frame. So obviously the drum spins faster because the tape relative head speed has to be maintained. So it spins 50% faster, so that it can achieve the same head to tape relative writing speed as the larger drum. Anyway, this tended to add, because the tape was wrapped tighter and went around the transport, went around the head drum at a tighter, more compact travel, or more compact tape path, tended to add more timing errors, and that's why I picked this one to play the high 8 tape that was recorded on this camera back in 1996. That's when this was made. No, it wasn't. Oh, you know what? This was shot on the VX3 on the Steadicam. I thought it was shot on this one. I stand corrected. That was shot on a CCD VX3. I somehow managed to get the VX3 to balance on a Steadicam Junior. That was a feat in itself, because the Steadicam Junior, if anybody knows what that is, I've still got one kicking around here too, made by Cinema Products, was designed for small cameras. It was not designed for heavier cameras, and I had a VX3, which was one of the heaviest of the high 8 handycams, being a 3 CCD with a 12 times lens. It was quite a bit heavier than the cameras that the Steadicam Junior were designed to operate with, and I actually got it to work. And I forget how I did it, but I think it has something to do with putting a bunch of coins and stuff and washers in the battery compartment, or below the battery compartment. I have to look it up and see what I did, but I know how to glue stuff. I think I used double-sided tape to stick washers onto the bottom of the battery compartment, because that's where the major weights were on the Steadicam Junior. It was the weight of the 4 C cells that were used to power the little monitor that sat out front, a little monochromatic green, almost a yellow-green color screen, so you could see it in the direct sunlight. It was a reflective. It had a backlight, but it was a reflective LCD, so you could see what you're doing. But the primary portion of the weight came from the batteries themselves. You put in Duracell or Energizer alkalines, and they were what gave the Steadicam Junior most of its balance. And then there was little weights that you put in. There was little metal weights that you slid in either under the batteries or in the battery compartment. But when I had it completely full with the maximum weights and full batteries, it still was too top heavy for the VX3. So I had to adapt it and put a couple more weights onto the camera or to the Steadicam to make it balance, and I got it to balance, and that was the result. Might not have been balanced absolutely perfect, but it was balanced good enough. Anyway, I'm anxious to see this and the footage. Anyway, that's it for this one.
it's unfortunate that this DVD recorder, the recorder section is shot on it, but the fellow that brought it to me was mainly interested in using it as a time-based corrector, and I said, yeah, it should work fine. We're going to see how this one performs into this capture box.
I'll put all the clips back to back right now. To sum things up, you don't need an expensive VCR with a time-based corrector in it that people are going to try to rip you off and charge hundreds of dollars for. You don't need it. All you need is one of these old DVD recorders. This is the Panasonic, this one, but any of them. Find an old DVD recorder that the drive is dead, so they've got no value to whoever's selling them. Because you don't need the drive unless you're planning on recording to disc. The signal will pass through these units, and the timing errors will be removed, and the picture just looks better. Pass it through a DVD recorder, you're going to greatly improve the quality of your capture, and you don't need to break your bank buying one of these machines that have got a time-based corrector built in. It's going to do nothing more than what we're getting here. This particular DVD recorder does not have HDMI output on it. Some of them do. I could capture this same tape, and maybe I will show you what it looks like using HDMI output from a DVD recorder with HDMI. So let's look at this same shot transferred over HDMI. This recording is now being played on a Digital 8 camera. I'm transferring it over using FireWire into the DVD recorder, which is upscaling it to 1080p and sending it out the FireWire, and it's just being captured directly as an HDMI source. But the up conversion was done by my Toshiba DVD recorder onto HDMI. I think you can see that the quality is actually pretty good. Pretty good. No complaints. I'll let this play out for a bit, and I'll say thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.